In this vlog, we will see how to start our programming in Python. So I hope you have been through our previous tutorial where we have successfully installed Python interpreter on our system and IDE called PyCharm for programming in Python. So for this tutorial, we will be using IDLE. So when you have installed Python interpreter on your system, there will be a tool automatically installed on your system called IDLE, so using which you can code in Python. So with the help of IDLE we can execute the single line statements. So IDLE stands for Integrated Development and Learning Environment. So here you can easily learn Python, as you have heard that Python is an easy to learn language. So here with the help of this tutorial you can see how easily you can learn Python. Nowadays, due to the trend in artificial intelligence and machine learning, people tend to learn Python because it's an easy to learn language and they can concentrate more on the subject rather than the programming skills. So currently Python is having a good future in terms of artificial intelligence and programming language, and also there are other fields where Python is widely used in web development, and also in the mobile application development we may use Python. So these are all the advantages, and there are more number of advantages when you get further into this course. So now let's get started. So in every programming language, the very first program you try to execute is hello world. So now how we do execute this program in Python? Let us start with our hello world. So here we have written hello world. So if you consider any other languages like C or Java, you can't print a hello world in just a single line, but in Python it's possible. So now let's see here. So now we have got hello world printed. So basically you may also use a print statement here, and inside which you can provide the hello world, and this will also give you the same output. So Python makes it easier to program. So I think now you understood. In a single line we have executed a statement and we have got the output. And also one more example which will make you understand how easily code in Python. So here let's add 2 plus 3. So in a general programming language you need to consider a variable and you have to store the values in the variable, and then you need to add the variable, and then you need to print the variable. So here using Python, just we have provided the values 2 plus 3. So value, operator and value. So then you have got the answer to be 5. So isn't it easier? And the code in Python is also easily readable, so there is no any difficult syntax here. So just 2 plus 3 is easily understood by even a student or even a school going student. So let's get further in this tutorial now. So not only the simple calculations, we can also do printing of statements as we have seen with the hello world. And now let's try to print the statement in. So we are trying to print Android coding.in. We have got our green color on the text until we have specified this single quote. So you can see here, when we have provided the single quote for the S here, the color of the text has turned to black here. So it doesn't consider to be a part of this single quote here, and it's not a separate one. So when you try to print this, you will be surely getting an error that it's an invalid syntax. Correct way of printing the above statement is like you need to provide a backward slash and then single quote. So now here you can see, before even trying to run this particular code here you can see our color is now turned to green. So you can just compare it with the above line here, When you have directly provided the single quote here, you can see the color turn to black here, whereas when you are trying to provide the backslash here, then you can see our statement is now, it's just showing that it's in a correct syntax. And when you try to run this here, you can see we have got the output as we have expected here. So you might think there is some gap here. Why? Because I have wantedly provided some space in between the backward slash and welcome here, just to make sure you exactly understand we have got the single quote in our statement. And now let us try to print a new line here, and here I am providing a backward slash and programming, and just close it. And now try to print, and you can see that our Python and programming are printed in two different lines now with the help of a backward slash and n here. So here you can make sure that the backward slash is a special character with which you can make the predefined processings for the strings here. So now let us see an example of a calculation again. So when you divide 4 by 2, you will be getting an output 2.0 here. So it's exactly trying to specify, or it's exactly trying to provide you the exact values here. So when you do the same with 5 divided by 2 here, you will be getting 2.5. But sometimes we want just the integer rounded up values rather than the, we don't want a decimal value. Sometimes we just want here, for example, when you divide 5 by 2, we just want the output to be 2. That's all. We don't want the decimal values again. So we don't want to get the values after the decimal point, so for which we can just provide the symbol twice here. So the forward slash here indicates the divide, and when you provide the symbol twice here, and now you will be getting just the 2 value here. So when we are trying to use a Python programming for any web development or any artificial intelligence, as we have discussed previously, sometimes we just want to have the value to point the graph, and that too in terms of the integer values. Then it will be easier for you. By providing an additional forward slash, you can get the output as required. When you want to add two string values here, so for example, Python and programming. So here we want to add Python plus programming here. Just provide some space. So now when you try to run this code, you can get the combination of these two string values here. So it's that easy actually. And also sometimes you want to print the value multiple times here. So I want to print the value Python multiple times. So here we are trying to print it now like for 3 times here. And when you try to run this code, you can see Python, it's printed 3 times now. And also there is an easy way to do this. So instead of providing it 3 times, you can just provide 3 into and provide the word whatever it might be. So here you can see we have got the same output as we have got previously. So this is how makes the programming a bit different from your general scenario and make your work much easier. So here we have just 3, but sometimes you need to have it like 100 times you want to print a word. Then here you can see how fast we will be able to get the output here. We just got the output just on a button click here. So programming makes a life much simpler than rather than your general way of dealing with the things. And when it comes to Python, it makes much easier because you can easily understand the code what you are writing here just as the computer understands it. Sometimes you need to add double quotes to your string here. So for example, I want to print a word like welcome, and you want to provide your guest name inside a double quotes here. So in this way it's possible now. So here you can see we have got welcome guest. So you might get a doubt, sometimes we are using a single quote and sometimes we are using a double quote. And when you consider the above example which we have dealt, and when you try to use a single quote for both the values here, welcome, and here I am providing the word, and here you can see when you compare this particular line with the previous line, we have used the double quotes in the first scenario, and in the second scenario we are using a single quote here. So when you try to run this code, the interpreter gets confused, like you have stopped the word before to G. Here you have provided a single quote here, so it considers here this part to be a string and the remaining word is an invalid syntax. So whenever you want to provide double quotes in your particular string here, or even you can provide a single quote also. So here we will try to see the value again. So instead of a single quote, this time I am trying to provide a double quote, and inside I will be providing a single quote here. So just make sure you provide some difference for the interpreter to understand that what you want to provide in the single quote or the double quote here. So if you have provided a single quote for the entire statement, then you need to provide double quote for the special character here. And when you are trying to provide a double quote for the entire string here, then you need to provide a single quote for the block of string which you want to print in the code. So again, these are all the general examples, and one more example regarding the calculation we can see here. So as we have dealt with 2 plus 3 equal to 5, and you want to use the value 5 for your next calculation here, so you can just provide an underscore, and now I'm providing into 2 here, so you can get the output 10 here. So here the underscore represents our previous value. Rather than providing 5 into 10, you are just collecting the previous output and you are multiplying it by 2 and then providing the value 10 here. So these are all the general things to make sure you understand how easily Python is, and you can also do more calculations like 2 plus 3 minus 2 plus divided by 5 and plus 6, and just you can get the output here. Even the complicated calculations are much easier to perform, and I hope the main theme of this particular tutorial is to make sure how easily you can code in Python. And when you use the PyCharm and IDE for Python programming, there you cannot directly make the single line executions. Like here for example, when you are trying to print a word, you can just directly specify them in a single quote and directly print it. But when you are trying to use an IDE, there you need to provide a print condition before. In our coming tutorials we will be using the IDE mostly, and we are having one more topic in the basics. Then after completing it, surely we will try to use a PyCharm for our programming, and this ideally is available on all the systems. When you install a Python interpreter, just search for IDLE and then you will be having this tool opened up, and you can try your scenarios in this IDLE and let me know if you are facing any errors. So this is it for this tutorial, and in the coming tutorial we will be seeing a variables declaration in Python. So if you like this tutorial, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on Python.